Okay, hey guys. This is Justin, the artist from WorldBreakers, the webcomic hosted online webtoon. If you don't or haven't read WorldBreakers, now's your chance. There's a link down in the description below. Um, if you happened upon this video somehow, I don't really know how you would have, but welcome. Also, quick, go away because there are going to be big time spoilers for you. This episode of WorkTime lines up with episode 33 of WorldBreakers. So, yeah, what are you doing? Don't. You've already been here too long. Go read. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that I gave you time to go. For everybody else, guys, episode 33 is the end of the first phase of the WorldBreakers story. That's crazy. Bye bye, dark days, deep dreams. Hello, boop. I'm not gonna say. Um, you'll find out soon enough. This what a crazy and wild ride this first chunk has been. One of our backers, Nyanka, asked if because they got to see a little preview, which you get to see if you're one of our Patreon backers. Link down below. Asked if this meant the end of the prologue for WorldBreakers. Originally, that was the plan. Was for this first phase, Dark Days, Deep Dreams, to be the sort of the prologue to the actual real meat of the story. But see, what had happened was I hit the end of this episode, and it occurred to me that we've now told all the story that I covered in that very first cover image in the first episode, and then even a little more. So it was kind of an appropriate time to start a new phase. For more than just that, also because just the content of the story is going to be a little different now as we get closer and closer to sort of the real deal. But this is prologue part 2 coming up. 2 of 2. I definitely can assure you that by the end of this second phase, we'll be in real WorldBreakers territory. We're still we still haven't gotten out to the world map, so to speak. So just sit back, enjoy the ride. It's fun. Speaking of world maps, coming up in the beginning of episode 33, because somehow I've neglected to do so far, there will be including a nice little map of the area that this story has covered so far. You kind of get to see where everybody is in conjunction to one another, where they've traveled so far. So yeah, that'll be fun. There we go. Another couple things to come immediately following this episode. Probably, I'm gonna aim for no more than 2 days following the upload of episode 33. There's going to be a little prologue or a little epilogue. Nothing crazy, not a full-length chapter. Just something I really wanted to do, but don't want to tack on to the end of 33. I just for timing's sake, if I did it, then we wouldn't be getting episode 33 on time. Okay, so that's the future, but let's sit back and reflect. What did we see in the first phase, in Dark Days, Deep Dreams? We learned a bit about the two sort of countries, the Greater Republic of Telvia and the kingdoms of Silverwood to the north of that. We learned that Telvia is far more dependent on the manufactured world energy known as core energy. They suck that up using their core mines. A little bit of trivia: that farm in the last episode, in episode 32, since their natural resources aren't as strong in Telvia, most farms like that one are powered by sort of mini core extractors that just sort of help infuse the land with the nutrients needed to like grow crops and stuff. So that's exciting. Obviously, all of these we'll get more in detail about how core mines and stuff work. Actually, in this next phase, but no more spoilers. We learned of the old friendship between Robin's parents, Milo's parents, and at least Hero's mom. So that's pretty interesting. And of course, that Victor was around those days as well, because he grew up on the Hemlock estate, or in that area as one of their honor guard in the House of Two Blades. We learned that Milo's dad, Baron von Hausen, kind of a sinister dude, pulling some kind of strings. I don't know if I can say anything more. Dang, I don't remember what we've covered and what we're going to be covering, so I don't want to spoil anything. What a tough balance that is to strike. But we know that Robin was in danger where she was, so Milo got her the heck out of there. Victor, who was on his way to protect Robin, similarly, dead now? I don't know, kind of dead. That was the biggest explosion from like a giant laser cannon thing I've ever seen. And he fell off a gigantic cliff, so I don't know, rest in peace, Vic. It was fun drawing you, but it wasn't actually fun drawing your dreadlocks, so you'll be missed by somebody, I'm sure. Hero, after that fight, was sent by her mom to go check out the Hemlock Manor, try and see what exactly is going on, because even though they're old friends, or maybe because they're old friends, Helena just doesn't quite trust what she's being told by Baron von Hausen now. So that's going to be interesting to see. Poor Tormey. Oh, poor guy. Tormey is so sweet. He's just like trying to see more of the world, kind of like on a not a walkabout, but just on a journey that dwarves don't usually take, to see what the world is like outside of the Dwarven Kingdom, and just pretty much instantly gets caught up in a whole bunch of stuff that is not his fault. But so he goes from just innocent traveler to suddenly a criminal, and he hasn't done a single thing illegal. Heck, he's been the victim of crime so far. He was kidnapped. So, well, these things happen, I guess. He'll just have to be more careful in the future. Anyhow, he's running around with Tien. Who knows where Crash is? We got to see the end of this whole chain gang incident, and that ended in a pretty crazy way, where everybody was shocked to find that Robin can actually talk to squirrels. This whole time, Milo thought she was just being a silly little girl pretending to talk to squirrels, because, I don't know, that's what little girls do. But nope, she actually can, and they are more than willing to help her out, apparently. So that's very interesting. I wonder where that will go. And let's see what else happened in this phase. Oh, the dreams. I would like to address those. Maybe we'll address them in a bit more detail at some point down the road. But I feel like they were kind of executed in an awkward kind of way, and it's my fault. There was a plan to put these dream sequences throughout the first phase, and we were on a roll with the story, and I kind of like was getting anxious to see them and rushed them a little bit, so they popped up at a weird time. I asked Phil to write them in, and then even worse than that, I decided to do each dream as like its own, with its own sort of like artistic style, and I think it just wasn't explained well enough. So poor execution on my part. Thank you for reading past that, and we will be addressing that. It's a very important part of the story, but I think we're gonna have to get there a bit more naturally instead of just forcing it in there like I sort of did, and that's my bad. But basically, Robin, Tormey, and Hero each in the same night had some kind of crazy dream where they were being spoken to by something. Maybe at some point in the future you'll want to go back and reread those episodes, but in the meantime, you could check them out. There are some little hints here and there for what's going on, but it's, you'll know when they become more relevant. Anywho, that was the first phase. Kind of crazy because it's one of the bigger milestones for me, working on a comic project, and at least the second time we've sort of hit this spot together, Phil and I. Our first big comic project that we worked together on after a few years of trying like this and that and the other thing. We worked on a comic called Deathmatch together. This was something that Phil conceptualized and wrote, and I drew, and it was fun. It was like a lot of fun. It was just a cool little action comic, but this was years ago. I think it might have almost started 5 years ago, and I was just like in a very busy spot in my life. I didn't have the amount of time I wish I had to devote to actually getting it out there. Also, it's been 5 years, and my comic making skills have progressed quite a bit since then. So I just couldn't. There were some things I really wanted to do but couldn't do. I'll try and find it. I know it's out there somewhere, and I'll put a little link to it in the description below if you wanted to see, how poopy my art used to be, but how awesome a writer Phil's always been. That would be my recommendation, would be to check out Deathmatch then. Oh man, this Squirrel Attack. Can I just say that drawing like hundreds of squirrels isn't exactly the most exhilarating thing to draw. As cool as squirrels are, and as much as I like the squirrels in the world of WorldBreakers with their interesting little fluffy ears, it's not super fun. So I don't recommend, if you're working on a comic, don't write a scene with like a crap ton of small woodland creatures, because you'll be going at it for a while. I love it though. It was worth it. Whatever. Cool scene. Totally worth it. Anyhow, sorry that what I'm working on right now is kind of boring. It's just I'm just laying out the panelage for all the parts of the comic. I guess, guys, that's really all I have to say. That's all I have to say regarding the comic. Okay, now let's get back to some of what I was talking about last week. let's get a little deep. Let's talk personal stuff, huh, guys? Excuse me. As I mentioned last week, sort of out of nowhere, even though I knew it was going to happen eventually, I just wasn't expecting it to happen so soon. We got a call from the better, fortunately, like a good nursing home called us and let us know that there was a spot for my mom. So we moved her in this past weekend. My mom's a pretty stubborn lady. I love her to death, but that's just how she is. I think I got a little bit of that from her. My dad's the same, so I got a little bit from him too. Also, they were both artists, so I definitely got that from both of them. Thanks, Mom and Dad. My mom was like a textile designer back in the 80s. She worked in fashion design in New York back then. And my dad, you know, he's been drawing because he liked comics when he was a kid, and he does a lot of like technical design stuff. Stuff that like I just can't do. So cool on both of them, and thanks to the both of them. Anyhow, I got distracted. My mom, we moved her in. She was stubborn. I wasn't expecting this, but within just a couple days, I thought it was going to take a lot longer. She's already pretty much digging it up there. My mom's really cool. She's not your average nursing home patient, I guess you could say. She's not like crazy or really old or anything. She just needs a lot of care because she can't really do anything for herself. So anyhow, that said, I'm sure that's why she's such a hit with like the staff that works there. They all love her. One of my trips back up there to like bring some more stuff for her, she's already surrounded by this little flock of, you know, nurses that just love her to death. So she's already feeling it up there. It's crazy, which helps me a ton because, you know, if you've ever been in a situation where you're taking care of a parent or a loved one, and then it's time to move them into a nursing home, mostly because you can't do it anymore, there's a little bit of guilt there. So it was really nice to go up and see her just like smiling and enjoying herself and accepting the fact that she had to be there. It took a huge weight off my shoulders. You guys don't even know. The very next day, I slammed out more work than I have in a long time. Unfortunately, I'm still sort of splitting my time between working on the comic and then getting my house in order, basically. As I said, I moved my computer out to the living room instead of in this cramped little office space I had it in. It's not an office space, it's like a half a room where you just store stuff. So that's where I'm at right now. Yesterday, I went and did dinner with my girlfriend and her sister and her sister's husband, and that was the first time I've gone out to do something in the evening like that in, like, you know, 2.5, 3 years since I started taking care of my mom. So that was just the craziest thing. It wasn't anything super special. We did Panda Express, wicked delicious, but it was just cool. Anyhow, I think these little personal chats would be better saved for like a personal vlog and not just me spitting at the readers of a comic that are like, what the hell is this guy talking to us about this for? But, you know, just to give you a little heads up, probably prepare for more of that in the future. We'll always talk business first, and then I'll get into these little personal bits. Let's see. Last thing I wanted to address, because I don't know if I remembered to do it in the last one. I'm using a new brush for inking. I don't know if you noticed. I used to use the brush that sort of resembled a pencil. That, like, the whole style I wanted to go with in the beginning of the comic has sort of changed, and now I'm sort of really feeling this more smooth, slightly more traditional inking brush. that I customized up a little bit. It gives me a bit more freedom when I'm making stuff. It'll help me draw things a bit more loosely. I think that'll help me save time too. Oh wait, this is business. I should have talked about this first. Okay, guys, we've gone on long enough here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for reading. Remember to check out the Patreon if you haven't already, because every little bit counts, and we really are in what's the word? I don't know. This is it. Anyhow, check out the Patreon. Read WorldBreakers if you haven't, and if you're here for some reason, I'm real sorry. Check out Deathmatch if you feel like it. And have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.